Welcome back, friends. The show, Your Real Estate Today. Paul Jameson here, your host. So glad you're with us. Happy Saturday, folks. Dang, I like March. I don't know about you, TJ. I love March. It's a great month. It's that transitional month where we go from the winter doldrums to the can you smell it? Yes. Where spring has sprung, you start to sneeze, and the flavors of spring come into the air. Do I sound poetic, folks? Do I? I'm trying. Okay. All right. So one of the things I want to talk about today is I was philosophical in segment 1, but I spoke the truth. I want to talk to you about repairs. I want to talk to you about repairs in a real estate transaction. This, when you get a contract and everybody comes together on price, you get the high fives. Woo-hoo! We agree. We're happy. We're excited. We're emotional. And then you get the inspection. And 99.9% of the time, even if the house is brand new, there's some stuff that needs to be done. And there's repairs that need to be done. And depending on who the inspector is, I use Home Inspection Carolina. They're the best because they understand that a piece of real estate is what is important and what is not important to discuss. So there are many home inspectors that don't understand that premise. They just look to make themselves look good by creating real heavy reports. So let me see if I can simplify for you the process of how to handle this part of the real estate transaction so that both buyer and seller are very clear on the ground rules. And here we go. And I talked about this once before, but I didn't spend a segment really being clear about why this is so important and what it can do to help both sides really be clear in a real estate transaction. It is called BCW. B stands for broken. Broken means very clearly, if it is broken, you fix it. And here's what the example of that could be. The home inspector finds that the microwave does not work. So, A, you either fix the microwave, or B, get a microwave. For example, if you find out that the stove doesn't work, or there's an outlet and an electrical issue that doesn't work, you fix it. Okay? Whew, that was tough. Okay. I think both sides can be clear on that one. Okay, folks, here's the one that's going to need some ear perking. C of BCW means cosmetic. Cosmetic. Now, you should, before you buy a piece of real estate, do one of two things. One, you should see it in person, and you should see beyond the furniture, walls, the floor. Now, let me give you an example of the floor. This is why I want to talk about this. If you walk into the living room of a house and there is a area rug on the floor, lift, and there are hardwoods, lift it up. Why? Because there may be dog pee-pee under there that has stained the hardwood floors. Or if you see, like I did one time, someone laid a blanket across the jacuzzi tub, It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand a blanket does not belong in a jacuzzi tub. When I removed the blanket from the jacuzzi tub, there was a crack the size of what's that big gorge in the Grand Canyon inside that jacuzzi tub. Okay. So make sure you put a good eye to what's going on. Now, here's the thing. I have seen many buyers come back and say, you know what? I thought the colors that they had it painted were really ugly, and I want $9,000 to repaint the whole house. Well, you were there. You saw what colors that house was. It is not reasonable to ask the seller to do cosmetic things that you do not have the opportunity to either discover yourself or see as you look at the house. Now, not every house you have the opportunity to see in person. Just to give you all an example, I purchased a home in Covington, Kentucky. I live in Charlotte. Now, my agent is there. She videoed every stinking corner of that house, told me every single thing that was going wrong with it or was wrong with it or is wrong with it. And I'm jumping on a plane to go look at it, to put my eyeballs on it. Okay. So cosmetic wise, I have a very clear picture of what that house looks like and willing to take ownership of anything because I'm going to paint the whole thing anyway. So I really don't care about that. That's in my plan. But if it's a cosmetic issue and you can see it, leave it alone. Now, here we go into the math problem, but I'm going to make it simple. W stands for worn. W stands for worn. This is where I see the most contradiction related to repairs. And that is around typically the hot water heater and the HVAC system and the roof. Each of those items has a lifespan. Now, we could argue what those lifespans are. A 35-year shingle, according to the experts that I've read, has somewhere between a 20 to a 22-year lifespan. Just because it says 35 doesn't mean 35. And an HVAC system has an 8 to 10-year lifespan, depending on what part of the country you live in. And a hot water heater, I mean, those suckers can live for 10 years, but you've got to come up with some type of a reasonable lifespan for that number. Now, if you're looking at a water heater and the inspector says this water heater is operating, but very close to the end of its natural life, whatever that natural life is, asking for a brand new water heater, if it's 25 years old and not working, is relatively reasonable. But what I see is the better way to do it is to say that there is some expectation of give and take related to those types of things. You're not purchasing a new home with new features. So with HVAC, with hot water heater, and with roof, you should come to a compromise based on the age of its life. And that expecting to be reimbursed 100% is not always reasonable, unless the item is B, broken. So BCW, use that. Realtors, use it up front. Talk about it up front. Then send an email because most people forget it. But make sure you talk about it because it'll make the process go a lot smoother. All right. Well, coming up after the break, Sam Ivey with Ivey Exterminating will be joining us, and we will be talking about your home in a new way from the bottom to the top. We look forward to that. Next segment, to show your real estate today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT.